Fàbregas, we'll have a look at the goal in a minute, but actually he makes the salient point there, doesn't he, that regardless of what Chelsea do, this is out of their hands now. Effectively, Tottenham have got to lose 2 from Watford, West Brom, Newcastle and Leicester. Is that going to happen?
Well, on paper, it doesn't look as if it should do and could do. And plus, they've got a 9-goal difference at the moment without playing Watford. Advantage on Chelsea, so you would think it's still in Tottenham's hands to lose, to give away. But those fixtures, you've got to look at Spurs and say, at the moment they're not playing well. At the moment they're not getting results, so they've got to go out there and do it. They've got to play at Wembley at home. They've got them home fixtures, get back to winning ways and keep Chelsea at bay. But Cesc is right. They've got to be there or thereabouts. They've got to win every game. You would imagine, Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree with Glenn. I think they've just got to keep winning like today, keeping a clean sheet, digging in maybe when it's not going their way like they did today, for a clean sheet, and just hope that Spurs will slip up. It looks unlikely.
And what's the psychology from a Chelsea perspective if you're the manager? Is it just a case of ignore what Tottenham are up to, focus on ourselves, every game is a final, as they say?
Yeah, they do, and I think it's interesting, post-Liverpool, they're playing Liverpool post-Liverpool, and if Liverpool have got to the final, which we all hope they do, of the Champions League, that's not a bad time to play them. They were off peak after the great performance against Roma today, so that would be an interesting one. But they've got to win every game and do what they've got to do. If they trip up themselves, Chelsea, then they can't.
I think ultimately they've only got themselves to blame, because over 35 games they've not been good enough to get into that top 4, and now they're looking to sneak in through the back door at the very, very end of the season. So only themselves to blame.
No Champions League at Chelsea, it's a huge blow.
Well, they normally go and win the Premier League when they have that.
Exactly. Not going to happen this time. Right, let's have a little look at the goal then. And there's something else that you wanted to pick out from this.
Yeah, it was a poor goal to give away. There's the look. King should turn on that. It's a poor touch. John was saying about bringing Hazard down, but it's, for me, Mawson gets dragged across there. When you're playing a 3 centre-backs, let your central man dictate. Look over your shoulder. He needs to have a look. He's not looked over his shoulder once to see where there's any danger. Olsen's too far pushed up as a wing back. Look, he gets attracted to the ball, turns round, it's too late. Fàbregas has got in between his wing back and his left centre back, and great finish, of course. But Mawson just had to have a little. If a defender looks at a ball, I will say more than 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds, there's movement going on behind you, you're not going to see. So you've always got to be looking over your shoulder. And for defenders, for midfield players, whatever, it's a lovely key to have. So if you've got that as a player, you'll know what's going on around you.
One of the only things you get taught, isn't it, as a footballer?
360 degrees, you're playing.
Well, then he will learn. You know, he's got in the England squad. You know, it's his first full season here at Swansea. He will learn with experience, playing with experienced players. If you're going to get dragged in, it's just a simple look over your shoulder and he can cover. He'll learn as the more games he plays.
That chair wasn't squeaking before you sat in it.
I can't stop moving.
It's actually Frank Lampard talks about it a lot, doesn't he? He said, like you, he said he would never go 2 seconds without.
No. Yeah. Well, movement and players now, what they can do in 2 seconds, they can make up 10 yards. If they pretend to go somewhere and run, and you're watching the ball, defenders watch the ball. That's the problem. You've got to be there's a time to watch it, and when it's pushed out of somebody's foot, you don't need to watch the ball, and the ball's not coming in, it's away from someone if he's running with the ball. That's your time to look at where your marker is, and then you're attracted back to the ball when it's ready to come in. He doesn't play it, then you're looking for a new position. Where's his new position? And you adjust to that. That's what your John Terry's have been doing from when he was a young kid right the way through his career.
OK, right, let's get some Swansea reaction then. Carlos Carvalhal is with Des Kelly. I think in this situation, it's Carlos's job to say things to keep his team feeling confident, but his review of that performance is probably slightly better than yours, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, you know, I think the first half today, Swansea were lucky to go in 1-0 behind. I think, you know, early on, they never quite, with the lack of intent, I just felt, and not getting enough bodies in the box there. Klukas has got to run across the near post. You see it here, Swansea on the attack. Again, not enough bodies in the box. This is a poor ball from Key. You could have said maybe run across the goal. I thought the ball was played with too much pace. Again, if he gets his head up there and plays it early, it's just, again, he allows the defender to get back and clear it. They were so much better in the second half. You look at Andre Ayew with his desire to try and get on the end of that cross. This time it's Van der Horn. They're putting the keeper under a bit of pressure. Jordan Ayew's unlucky there. That could have easier fell in under the bar. This again is Ayew. I didn't think that was as close as his reaction. But at least look how many balls have gone into Chelsea's penalty area. And when you get bodies in there, that's a really decent effort from Carroll.
What they did is they ended up, from 63 minutes when Carroll came on, they went into a 4 and they pushed Chelsea back. And Chelsea always go into a back 5. Yeah. You can push them, you can force them into that back 5, and suddenly the emphasis now, they're on the back foot, Chelsea. Swansea have got bodies going forward. There's a little bit of let's throw caution to the wind. So all them things come into it. Bodies end up nearer the box. They got opportunities to put some crosses in because they forced Emerson and Moses back. Not Moses so much. They could have done it even better. But when you do that against Chelsea, they come under the cosh. It's like you're asking them questions. First half, they didn't ask them one question.
And you think he got it wrong by trying to go toe-to-toe and play the same system as Chelsea early on?
Yeah, I think if you're a really good side and you look at Chelsea and you go, let's play 3 at the back, let's play wing-backs because we're better than them. I'll look you in the eye, 1v1, all over the pitch, I'll outdo you today. When you're the team that haven't got that, I think you have to come up with something different. Like the Chelsea, when you play in a 4, they struggle to stop the right and the left back getting out on the ball. Because you push them back too far, and we might come on to that later. But I think Swansea, if they'd have done that from the first minute, we'd have seen a different tempo to their game, and they'd have been on the front foot. Maybe they still would have given the goal away, but at least they'd have given themselves to go toe-to-toe, good opportunity to put Chelsea on the back foot, get this crowd going. This crowd didn't get going until the last 15 minutes of the game because of the way the team were playing.
Yeah. And as the honorary president of the Swansea City fan club, which is what I think you are, you've been crying for them all day, you've been positive for them all day. And actually, if you look at the fixtures to come, Bournemouth, Southampton and Stoke, those are 3 good fixtures for them. Bournemouth are dropping like a stone, and then it's 2 sides who are struggling.
Well, they are good fixtures. Bournemouth away is not easy next Saturday, but then on the Tuesday, I think Southampton come here, then we finish last game of the season, Stoke. It's in Swansea's hands. It's not as if they play in Manchester City and Liverpool. No disrespect to Stoke and Southampton. They will come to Swansea. They'll see it as an opportunity themselves to play a team in and around the bottom 4.
Before they come, though, it's interesting. If Southampton gets something at Everton and Swansea don't get anything at Bournemouth, that is when they then play here, that is going to be an unbelievable game. And so it depends on what Southampton actually do at Everton.
Everton away in this game.
Yeah, that's what they do there.
Just look, though, at the fixtures of Brighton and Huddersfield. You know, we're focusing on the teams in the bottom 4. I mean, Brighton, United, City and Liverpool and Huddersfield, City, Chelsea and Arsenal. You can't say that either of those 2 are guaranteed a single point for the rest of the season.
No, even West Ham now, Manchester City tomorrow, which is a ridiculously tough game. Look what they finished with. Leicester away is not easy, and finish with Man United and Everton. So even the likes of West Ham, Huddersfield now, with the results they've gone today, they have all been dragged in as well.
I mean, you imagine Southampton, they're looking at, if we go up to Everton and get an unbelievable win, come to Swansea, we've got to beat them because they're down there with us, it's there. And then who we got next? Oh, Man City, last game of the season.
They need the points on the board, you'd suspect, before that game. And actually, next weekend, you can see live on BT Sport, Southampton at Everton. That's the game for us. Right, plenty more still to talk about. Just to remind you, we're live here until 9 o'clock this evening with Premier League tonight. All this talk about Tottenham and Liverpool. They're not assured of the top 4 yet, don't forget that, and they play each other next, don't they? Interesting that he chose to make reference there to not putting teams away, and it was the same story again today, wasn't it? Plenty of chances, one of them an incredibly good chance.
As I said, it was just curving on that post.
It's been a really strange season for Chelsea, but they find themselves now in the final of the FA Cup. If things go their way, they'll find themselves finishing in the top 4 as well. It's improved, hasn't it, in the last few weeks?
Yes, it has. I mean, there was big question marks about them, wasn't there, in middle way through the season? But they've started to get it going. You see Hazard first half. You see him last week in the semi-final. If he picks up his form, he lifts the team. It's as simple as that. And today, he played in a position that I think, if you asked him, that is where he wants to play. That is where he's got a free role to come off the striker. He can go wide right, wide left. He can pick up any position he wants to. Here he is, picking up wonderful positions. This is for the goal. A little cute little ball. He sees Fàbregas, or a blue shirt even, out the corner of his eye. Here he goes again. Look, flick round the corner, bang, and joins in. If he plays in that position, I think he'll be consistently, he'll become an even better player. When he plays wide left or wide right, when they have to play that shape because they go into a 5, he has no responsibility defensively in this position. When he plays wide, he's got to track people back. and you're taking him away from where you need him, nearer the goals, nearer the opposition's back 3 or back 4.
You won't have an easier 45 minutes though, Glenn, all season in terms of Swansea defending against him today. You cannot allow Hazard to come off you under no pressure and turn and then run at you. And look at all the space and time he's got to run into. Defensively, Swansea just couldn't cope with him today. But I just think if they'd done the basics a little bit better, they'd have dealt with him a lot better than what they did.
Look at his map there, look at the touch map, the freedom he's had to go anywhere in the park. And if you allow a player like that playing that position, then he's going to get more touches on the ball. Productive things are going to come for your team, there's no doubt about it. So how can he find this system against the better team? If you play that way against, which they did against Roma, I remember in the Champions League, 3-3 at the Bridge, Roma should have won it. They couldn't get near them because Hazard was playing that position. So it swings and roundabouts. How do you get him in that position to become even better than he is now? I believe he could go another level. But the system has to be shaped a little bit better so that you're not being forced back and then you're having to play just counter.
And Willian today, I think if Willian had started, Chelsea would have been a lot more. They'd have scored more goals in the first half because of the opportunities they had. But we were talking about it. You can't play Hazard off a target man and play him there. You know, if you're going to play Willian, they've got to play them both wide with one in the middle, so they can.
The only risk that not a risk, but Conte might have to say, look, listen, let's see him play in a 3. If Fàbregas or Bakayoko's position against certain teams, he could play tucked in a 3. He's got the legs to do that, but playing him in his position that Willian's a very good player and had a really good season. Playing him in his strength position would be out where he plays on the wide berth. So then Hazard has to play on the opposite side. And that's the shape. And then they leave themselves only 2 central players in midfield. Can Fàbregas play that? So that's the permutations that a manager has.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Having all these brilliant players and trying to get them to work in. Carlos Carvalhal would say his job's a little bit harder. And it's been a difficult day for Swansea as well. Thanks ever so much for joining us. I know it hasn't been the perfect day for your club, but the good news is it's not over yet. We've now got an hour to sit back, relax, talk about football. Liam Britton's going to join us. There's loads still to come. Chris Sutton will pop in for a chat as well. Premier League tonight comes next. We're live until 9.